Hello fellow coders. Today, I will show you how to set up SVN or Subversion server and client for your file versioning. Don't forget to like and subscribe. To start, I will run a clone virtual machine for my server. I prefer to use virtual machine to easily dispose unused installations. If you are not using a virtual machine, you can simply run the installer as I will show later. For the installer we will need the 64-bit installer for SVN Server. I will leave in the description the link. I will remotely access this virtual machine so we can have bigger screen. Now, I will copy the SVN Server installer and start the installation in my Windows Server 2019. The installation is just straightforward, so you can just follow me as shown in the video. Sorry, my bad. You will need to create a user first before creating your file repository. There, we have our user named test user. Now, I will create my repository named Code Mechanic Files. Let's try to browse our repository using a web browser. It appears Internet Explorer doesn't support this. I will try to use Google Chrome instead. There, we have successfully set up our SVN server and successfully browsed it. Next, we will try to browse it using Tortoise SVN so we can pull and commit files located in our Explorer. I will create a folder named My SVN Files. For the Tortoise SVN, you will need to download the installer. I will leave in the description the link to download it. The installation of Tortoise SVN is just straightforward, so just follow the video. After installation, you can right-click to a folder and the Tortoise SVN option is added. Select Repo Browser from the Tortoise SVN. In the checkout, copy the link of path to browse. Paste it in the URL of Tortoise SVN and click OK. Provide the user credentials of the one we created earlier. There, we successfully browsed our repository using Tortoise SVN. Now I will create a new folder and commit it to our file repository. I will name the folder Test Folder. To commit, right-click the root from the Tortoise SVN and click Add Folder. Locate and select the folder you've created. Add your commit message and click OK. Let's check in the web browser if the folder was successfully committed. There, it just works fine. Next, I will try committing a text file. We'll add some content of the file. This case let's write, Hello World. Instead of add folder, this time we will use add file. Again, write your commit message and click OK. Let us check in the web browser if the file was committed. It appears it just works fine. We finished setting up our SVN server. This time, we will set up our client machine to simulate a development team. Meaning, what if multiple users will use the SVN at same time? For this fictional scenario, the client will be a Windows 11 Home. Since this is home version of Windows, unfortunately, we won't be able to remotely access it. Well, the virtual machine crashed. This is probably because I just allocated it 4 GB RAM, 2 CPU cores and 30 GB of hard disk. Anyway, it just restarted and we can resume our thing. Since we are not using remote, unfortunately, the copy-paste from host machine won't work, so I will just download the Tortoise SVN installer from the browser of this virtual machine. The installation of Tortoise SVN is just straightforward, so just follow the video. Now, let's create the folder to check out the files from our SVN server. Open the Tortoise SVN repo browser of the client machine. This case it's the Windows 11 virtual machine. Now copy the URL of the repository from the SVN server. Again, since we are not using remote desktop, copy-paste function doesn't work. So, this case I just manually typed the URL in the web browser of the client machine. My bad. This looks like the URL of our SVN repository is not accessible outside of our SVN server. To fix this, we will need to disable secure browsing from our SVN server. Hence, we will disable HTTPS from the network property of our SVN server. Restart the SVN server and let's check if that solved the problem. Don't forget to copy the updated repository URL since it will be different now that we are using HTTP only. Again, since we are not using remote desktop, copy-paste function doesn't work. So, this case I just manually typed the URL in the web browser of the client machine. It appears now that we can access the server's repository URL from the client using HTTP. Let's copy the checkout URL and try to use it in the Tortoise SVN we installed earlier. Well, it appears it just works fine. Now, we have an SVN server and can be accessed by multiple clients. Take note, since this is just the free version, only up to 15 users can be added. Now, let us try to commit some changes in the content of the file to check if it does reflect to the client. Sorry, it appears you will need to check out the files first from the repository URL. The procedure we performed earlier is just adding file and folder but not checking out. There, you can see the green icon with check meaning we checked out the file. Let us proceed modifying the file and committing it. Now, in our client machine, the Windows 11, let's try to update our copy of the file being modified and check if the change in file content gets reflected. There, client copy was updated. Thank you for watching and happy coding. See you on the next tutorial.